Hello, 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 and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too because you are consuming content like this. The name of this lovely channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in the whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we are choosing. Today, in this video, I am discussing how you have to become comfortable with being in the spotlight. So this is not a conversation about people wanting to be famous, right? I find that when I have conversations with others and I talk about manifesting the life that you choose and creating abundance in your life, most people that I have a conversation with want a quiet, abundant life. Like they don't necessarily want to be in anybody's face. They don't want to have to perform all the time. They don't want to have to, share information about themselves and their personal lives with anybody. That's the last thing that they're interested in. But the problem is, I wouldn't call it a problem. I say it's a good problem. When you are starting to refine your life and you're starting to change your self-concept, you're starting to upgrade who you are, expanding and growing in who you are, there's going to be an automatic glow that happens on the inside of you. That glow is so strong. It's like a magnetic energy that's inside of you that everywhere you go, people are going to ask you questions. They're going to stare at you a lot. They're going to, when you go in the stores and places, give you compliments and things. And if you are uncomfortable with that level of attention, it can easily make you shrink back into the smaller forms or the smaller versions of yourself. A lot of women talk about this when they say, hey, I want to be a woman that goes out on a lot of dates, that people ask out when they're in public and I get a lot of attention there. I've never wanted that. I've been one of those kind of people all my life where I can remember as young as being 15, 16 years old, walking past guys and like looking at the ground and going, please don't talk to me. Why? I don't know. That's just the way I always been. Cause it was just too much. And I probably have to do some deeper understanding with it, but I never wanted that, type of attention on me in any kind of way. But when you start to do this work and you start to expand and grow, there's a part of you that has to become comfortable with that. So it's like now I can walk in those spaces or past those people. I don't look at the ground. I gracefully say, oh, thank you. If they say something wonderful to me or they say something nice, or if they're trying to get my attention to stop and talk, I'm like, oh, I'm really in a rush, but thank you so much. I appreciate the compliment. So that's my version of being comfortable in that spotlight. So while I haven't changed who I am, I don't want to sit there and randomly chat up on the block with people while I'm walking by and stuff, especially, meeting people in that way. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not something I'm interested in. But at the same time, there's a level of comfort that I have with it that I didn't have when I was like 15, 16 years old, when I would like stare at the ground and look away and like, please don't come talk to me, please. That used to be the automatic response. And so when it comes to your craft and like what you do and what you create and what you bring to the world, a lot of times we get to a place where it's time for us to present those ideas to other people. It's time for us to be in front of other people in conference rooms, to be at fundraisers, to be at workshops, to like share with people what we know and what we can do, to teach classes or whatever it is. And so many people grow to that point and then they stop right there because they're so uncomfortable with being in that spotlight. Every time I was asked to do something in the past related to my craft, whether it was writing, whether it was teaching something related to sociology, whether it was just personal, professional development, I've always said yes to everything. People will invite you to all kinds of stuff. And I always think back to this one little event that I went to and there was absolutely nobody there. And for months, the lady was just like, oh, I'm so ashamed that nobody came to my event and all this kind of stuff. And she was like, can you do the presentation for me? But, knowing being who I was, I did that presentation because I was like, well, why not? And she was the only person sitting right in front. And so the biggest reason why I did it, it wasn't because I felt sorry for her or whatever like that, or like I had to do it. I really just wanted to be okay with being in the spotlight, with being the person that is focused on as an expert in this area. I may not be a full expert, but I may have a lot of information to share. I've been on panels for K through 12 educational things. And that was always a little scary too, because it's like, It's on the public service television stations and they'll pass the mic around. And then when they come to you and you don't know what questions you're going to get, you're hoping that you sound thoughtful. You're hoping that you have something to share. You're hoping that you don't fumble your words or that you don't get caught up with nerves and it doesn't come out right. And so all of those things that have been doing over the years have always helped train me to be okay with being in the spotlight, okay with being tapped on the shoulder in 5 minutes. Give us your thoughts on that, because if you're going to be an expert or a person that knows something or a person that can share something and you want to be abundant and create a life based on what you are developing for other people, you got to be able to be in the spotlight and tapped for it at any given time. You know, and another thing is being comfortable with your own voice and stuff. You know, I talk to people all the time that don't like their voices and I'm like, it's just a voice, right? But it holds you back from being able to fully expand and be who you are. I've seen so many people get to the point where they're right at the place where they should start doing these press releases. They should start sharing their information with other people. They should start getting out there and like being an expert or a go-to person in their field. But because that spotlight or being in that place is so, what is it called? It's so uncomfortable for them, they shy away and it stops them from moving themselves to the next level. I remember I was doing a TEDx talk, and that was one of the scariest things for me too, primarily because it was a bigger spotlight than I was normally used to being in, and it was live too. And then also it played directly into the stuff that I had been learning and doing and creating in sociology. Like I can talk about personal and professional development stuff all day, but like really clear academic stuff when you're sharing statistics and you're making sure you're proving your point, it's such an uptight space. And so that like really challenged me, because I was like, if you back down from this and you go and hide, then you're hiding from your true purpose. You're hiding from something that you have to offer the world. So me doing it, it wasn't even so much about, you know, getting people's attention or trying to be up out in front. I was very nerve-wracked when it came to doing that presentation. It was mostly so I can get comfortable with being in front of those crowds, with being in front of people and not feeling like I need to shrink myself or go hide in the background. I want to be easy. I want to be able to walk in the rooms and walk around the people and not feel like I'm so embarrassed, I don't belong here, I'm so insecure, or whatever those feelings are that might bubble up whenever you're about to do something that makes you feel like you should shrink back down to an older version of yourself. So when you are growing and changing, expanding and being, I can't even say it enough. It's so important to find ways to get comfortable in the spotlight. And some of those ways too, I think, even if it's just making videos on YouTube, sharing what you know and sharing what you do and, you know, posting them and not worrying about how many people's viewing them, how many people's liking them, how many people showing up. It really just doesn't matter, right? I was comparing it to with my daughter the other day. I was like, I make videos and stuff, and sometimes some of the views are real low on some videos and some of them are higher. And I've gotten to a place where I don't pay attention to it like the way that I used to. And primarily because I was thinking about when I used to teach classes, and sometimes you come up with your own courses. And I remember about 10 years ago, if not more than that, I had a social media course that I just could not wait to put out there. And it was a first of its kind for the college. And all of the old heads that were there, they fought against it so much. They said social media will come and go. I was like, you really think so? And it was a class on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So they had to make a video. They had to learn what a professional presentation was on LinkedIn. They had to learn how to use Twitter for business and also Facebook for business. And I've made a curriculum and everything. And they fought so hard against this class. And I got like 6 people signed up for it, which was enough to teach it. And they said, we can't give you full pay for it, but you'll get paid per student. And they thought that was going to discourage me. I was like, nope, I still want to teach it. I don't care. And so let me tell you, I taught that course with all my heart, and it was one of my favorite things I've ever done. But in that mindset of doing that, I met so many people along the lines of wanting to create these things and wanting to bring these things to fruition and wanting to develop themselves in a certain way, but was afraid to step into the next realm of it, was afraid to step into the next space of it. So you just got to keep that in mind. When you are developing yourself and trying to do things to become the newest versions of yourself, there will be times to where you're stuck in that spotlight and there's nothing you can do but either dive into it and be of assistance, be an expert on the matter, share what you know, and be the person that people can come to and go to for things. Or if you shrink, then you just become like, a thing of the past. And the reason why it's not so much important about being in front of people and, getting accolades and stuff, it's way more important as it relates to becoming abundant and being financially secure when it comes to doing things that you love. If you don't get out there in the spotlight and allow the things that you love to lead you, and be okay with fumbling over your words, with not getting it right, with, trying to come up with courses and things that people don't care about and all. That was the point I was making. I was like, I felt like that point went awry. I was telling my daughter that course, 6 people signed up. Yes. And I was like, so that's what I think about when I think about YouTube. I always like, if 6 people watched that video, wasn't important enough for 6 people to get this information. That's what's important. So when we make these videos and we create these things, we can't be hopped up on how many people, because it's so easy to get caught up in a numbers game. If your true dedication is, I want to inspire people, help others, motivate them, I want to be the source of light so that they can say, hey, I can create and conquer these things in my life, then you don't care if it's 6 people, 600, 6,000, 6 million. It won't make a difference to you, because your goal is going to remain the same. Yeah, I know I lost the point. I was like, I wasn't saying that for that reason, but I'm just going to go with it. Nonetheless, don't be afraid to be in the spotlight, especially if you are doing the refining that it takes to get to the next level in your life, if you're leveling up, because you will be tapped for something. Somebody will knock on your door. They'll ask you to come to a church and do a presentation on financial aid for the people there, because I've been tapped for that kind of stuff too. And they say, we can't pay you, but can you come? This is a long time ago. And I said, sure. And I wound up leaving there. They gave me a $50 Amazon gift card and like a little plaque with my name on it. And when I tell you, that made my day, because I was like, they gave me what they had and I wasn't expecting anything, but I also wasn't afraid to share what I knew, because what you know is more than what somebody else knows on a subject so many times. And if you just take the time to share and not mind fumbling and, sitting in rooms where there's like 5 or 6 people attending, I've done that so many times, and you don't mind and you just present what you have, it's like you get more and more comfortable with being a vessel, with being a strong, positive vessel of light that can like shed light and positive energy on subjects and topics that people really want to know and have access to. Anyway, you got to be okay with being in the spotlight. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.